guys, it's Stephanie from Raven and Blots, and today I'm going to be doing the A to Z book tag challenge. I wasn't originally tagged for this, but it looked like a lot of fun, and it's all over BookTube right now, so I thought, why not? Yay! Alright, so A, an author you've read the most. That would be my girl Agatha Christie. I've read pretty much everything that she has written, and I love her because she's not called the Queen of Crime for no reason, guys. Seriously, she has the ability to do multiple plots and never repeat them, so I love that about her. B is best sequel of the year. That would be Beastly Bones, written by William Murder, who, wait, he wrote Jacoby! I've literally made it less than a minute without mentioning Jacoby in my video. Good job, me! This one, though, is so good. I loved the first one, and this one is so much better, and I didn't think that was possible. So good. Loved it. C is currently reading, and right now I'm reading 2 books, which is really weird for me. Normally I read one at a time, but I have really been on a fantasy kick lately, and both of these are fantasy, but they're both different styles of fantasy, so it's really fun. The first is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and this one's really dark and gritty fantasy. I really enjoy this, but sometimes when it gets a little too dark, I have to switch over to Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Book 1, The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. And this one has the battle and everything, but it's also kind of snarky, so it gives me a nice little light humor fill, which is what you kind of need after 6 of Crows, which is true. D, drink of choice while reading. Well, basically my drink of choice anytime is coffee, and I love coffee. It's amazing, and it makes me happy. E, ebooks or physical. I have to say, physical. I love my shelves. I love ebooks for their convenience, but I can't read on a screen that long. It actually really kind of gives me a headache if I read for more than like an hour. So I love the fact that I can pack like 50 books on that thing, but I can't read them all. And that really kind of annoys me because like I can read 3 or 4 hours without having a headache or any problems on regular books. And so that's why I usually choose the regular books. F, fictional boyfriend you would have dated in high school. Now, I know this is going to come as some sort of shock to all y'all, but I was definitely a geek in high school, and that was before geeks were cool. And so I really wouldn't have dated a lot of these like popular book boyfriends like, you know, Anton or Cricket or any of them. And I think the one I would have gone for would have been Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter, because he was just cute and oh, and sweet, and yeah, he messed up, but you know what, he was a sweetheart, and I would have dated him. G, glad you gave this book a chance. Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is really dark and gritty, really not my usual sort of soiree sort of writing, but I loved it so much, and I randomly tried it because I went on Book Depository, and this book was on sale, and I was like, I shall buy you, and I bought it, and I read it, and I loved it, and it was very different from what I normally read, and I liked rooting for the bad guy, and it was really a good mix. I'm glad I tried it. H, hidden gem of a book. For me, that's going to be Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. A lot of people talk about the cover, but I haven't heard many people give reviews or talk about this book at all on BookTube, and it's so good. It talks about a young girl who decides to take revenge for her father dying, and there's a little bit of romance, and it's set in the 1840s with the gold rush, and it is a western, which kind of turned me off at first, I'll be the first to admit, but it was really well done. Like, you kind of, I don't know, it's like a movie or something. Like, I would love to see this as a movie because it was so good. So definitely a hidden gem of a book that most people I feel like don't know about anymore. I, important moment in your reading history. For me, that would have to be when I bought The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This is a bind-up, so don't get weirded out, but it's a bind-up of all 7 of the novels. And I was like 8 or 9 when I bought this, and I read the first one, and, you know, it was okay. And then I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and that book literally just drew me in. Before that, I was a reader. I had always read really well, but after these books, I became a reader, and there wasn't a day that went by that I wasn't reading something. And I know without these books, I definitely wouldn't really be into the fantasy as much as I am, and I really probably wouldn't be as much of a reader, because these stories really honestly changed my life, and I have a very special spot for Narnia. It's my homeland. I want to go. I just finished Holder's Dominion by Janice Davis, and this is an excellent book. I actually rated it 5 stars, and I'm going to be talking more about this in my wrap-up video, but let's just say it deals with Kaylee, who is a young girl who is running from her past, and she literally falls into the RPG format of the role of, I believe it's called Inendar. Yeah, Inendar. And there she becomes Loxy, and she starts rising the ranks and really starts questioning herself and a lot of stuff around her. I actually met the author. She was at Comic-Con this year, and it was so awesome because she basically wrote this because people were telling her that girls didn't like to play games and girls weren't gamers. And so she wrote this out in response to that. So the girl in here is actually a gamer. It's very well done. Because it's an RPG game, she actually has the fantasy element along with the reality. So it's so cool because you have the magic and different creatures and the storyline revolving in there, and then you also have her own storyline, and it just flows, and it's awesome, and you guys need to pick it up. Holder's Dominion by Janice Davis. It's actually at Amazon and also at Barnes & Noble, I believe. I believe it's at Barnes & Noble. But yeah, need to read that. I loved it, and I'm hopefully going to be doing a review sometime soon talking about it, but it's fantastic. Okay, kinds of books you never really reach for. That would be horror. I don't really like anything Stephen King writes at all. And actually, I don't really reach for anything that John Green writes anymore either. So either one of those authors, but I really hate horror. Like, I will not read any horror at all. L, longest book you've ever read. Well, I don't really remember the longest book I've ever read. I know I've read War and Peace, but I don't know if I've ever finished it. So we'll just go for the longest book I've read this year so far. And that would be oh my gosh, I just hit myself in the head. Caused a concussion there. Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And this was like 660 pages or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, this was probably the longest book I read this year so far. M, major book hangover book. For that is going to be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book, I read it when it first came out because I was in a horrible, horrible reading slump, and I read it and I absolutely loved it. And I read it like 2 or 3 times within that year because it was just so fantastic. And even now, I haven't read it for about a year and a half, and it's still one of the books that I think of, and I know the story still. I think of the characters and the romance and the mystery and the magic in here, and I really love this book. Like, it's one of my favorites, and I love it. So good. And number of bookshelves that you own. I'm sorry, number of bookcases that you own. I have 3. I have a 3-shelf one, a 4-shelf one, and a 5-shelf one, which is behind me. And all of them are starting to be double stacked. My 3-shelf one is the only one that isn't, and that's just because I only have my Agatha Christie and my Grace Livingston Hill on there. My 4-shelf one is so double stacked I can't even put any more books on it. And my 5-shelf, both the bottom 2 are starting to be double stacked as well. So I do need to get some new bookshelves, but I'm getting ready to move in like 3 months, and I really don't want to put up new bookshelves here and then have to move them. I'd rather just go and buy them and put them up in my new apartment. So that's my plan. Hopefully it will work. Oh, one book that you've read numerous times. I actually reread all my books. If I buy them, I kind of have a tendency that I know I'm going to reread it over and over and over again. If I'm not into it, I actually will give it away or I'll return it. But I have a tendency that if my books aren't basically going to be a higher than a 3.5, or ones I'll reread, I won't keep them. So that's just my own personal purging way. P, preferred place to read. I actually read on the floor in my bedroom. I have a bed and I have a recliner and I have a desk and a chair that I can read at, and I choose to sit on the floor next to my bed and read for some reason. I don't know why I have this aversion to furniture, but I do, and it's weird. Yeah. Q, quote that inspires you. I actually have two. Neither one of them are from books, but that's okay. The first is, we will face whatever tomorrow brings with determination, joy, and bravery. And that is by Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, which is one of my favorite movies. And the second one is, great men are forged in the fire. However, it is the privilege of lesser men to start the flame, no matter the cost. And that is from the 50th anniversary episode of Doctor Who. And both of those just remind me that I need to be courageous and brave, and yet allow other people to take the lead if, you know, they have a better dream or a better vision, or help them propel them to greatness. So yeah, those two really do inspire me a lot. R, reading regret. I really don't have very many reading regrets. The only one I have for this year is that I let the hype and excitement of a book kind of sway me into buying it, even though I really wasn't into the book or really didn't have a desire to read the book. And that book was A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And unfortunately, I didn't care for the book. I felt like the characterization and the world building was just really not there. And so unfortunately, that is my reading regret of this year, because I now will not let the hype tell me what book I ought to read. Says the girl who read Illuminate because of the hype, but still. S, a series that you started that you still need to finish. Well, there are quite a bit of them, but I'll name the top three because I don't think I can remember all the series I've started that I need to finish. The first one is House of Heroes. Wait, no, it's not House of Heroes. It's Heroes of Olympus. Yeah, Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan. I'm only on the third book. No spoilers, please. The second one is Diary of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. And the third one is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. All three of those I need to finish because I started them in like April. So yeah. T, 3 books that are your favorite of all time. And I'm not doing that question because I don't like picking favorite books. Like, that kind of annoys me. And no, we're not doing that. I can tell you Pride and Prejudice and The Hobbit would be on there, but I can't tell you the third one because I'm horrible at picking sides. I can't do that. No, we're not doing that. You, unapologetic fangirl of Jane Austen, of course. I'm thinking you're wanting a book answer, so Jane Austen is my favorite all-time author. I collect Pride and Prejudices, like different copies of them. And also, if any book ever has the, like, something about Jane Austen on there, I'll buy it. I have like 3 or 4 of her biographies, so I love Jane Austen. Yeah, she's awesome. V, very excited for this release. For this one, I'm gonna have to say Morgan Matson has a new book coming out in May. I can't think of what it's called, but I know that she has a new one out. And I love all her other writing. I love Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, and Second Chance Summer, and Since You've Been Gone. And I just feel like she's an incredible writer, and I just love her stuff so much. But it doesn't come out until May, so I'm sure that there are going to be other books that I'm really excited about, but that's the main one. When I heard that she was coming out, I like marked it. I was like, yes, it's my birthday month. What? W, worst bookish habit. I have to say my worst bookish habit is buying books that I really don't need. I can convince myself with no problem that I need new books, and that's probably my worst bookish habit. Today I did the Black Friday sale for Book Outlet, and I managed to convince myself I needed 14 new books, plus 5 from Amazon and 3 from Barnes & Noble. Yeah, I do have a problem, at least on sales. X, X marks the spot. What is the 27th book on your bookshelf? So I just chose from the very top one up here, and that is Adulting, How to Become an Adult in 468 Easy-ish Steps by Kelly Williams Brown. This one basically tells you a whole bunch of stuff that people assume you know, but you actually don't know, and it's like logic, but not logic. And like renting or moving or getting a new lease on a car, or how to clean carpet, that sort of thing. It's got like a whole bunch of little random steps basically, and I recommend this for anyone who is moving out on their own, or basically has never moved out on their own, or is getting ready to go out of college, or getting ready to graduate high school. Excellent book. Why? Your latest bookish purchase. Okay, I have a confession. I absolutely hate Black Friday like lines and sales and stuff like that, because I feel like everybody comes out and it's crazy, and I don't like a lot of crowds. And I wasn't even going to go out today, and I decided to because I got an email from Barnes & Noble, of course, for 30% off, and I'm like, I'll just use that online. That's fantastic. Thank you. And then I saw that they had some autographed copies of certain books. So I went and I got this book signed by the author, which is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. And I have not read this book. I have tried numerous times to read this book and it hasn't happened. So I'm hoping that because I have it now in my hands, in my possession, I will read this book. I've heard amazing things about it. I just haven't read it, which is really sad. And I need to. And now it's signed and it's in my possession, so I'm going to read it. It's my 2016 goal, is I'm going to read that book, because I've heard so many good things about it. And Zed, the last book that kept you awake when you should have been sleeping. That would be Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I read this book and I stayed up until 2:30 in the morning to read this book, and I ended up calling into work because I was so tired. So I took like a personal health day, and then I stayed at home and read the rest of this book. Yeah, it's that good. Alright guys, so that was the A to Z book tag challenge. If you're watching this, go ahead and make yourself tagged, because I'm assuming that you're going to be tagged. Yeah, why not? You're tagged now. Yay, by me. Alright, and I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. I'm so sorry it's been so long since I've been on here, but it's been crazy. I got a second job, and it's just no more time for reading or videos apparently, but I promise I will try to get another video. Well, I'll actually have another one up probably by Tuesday, because that will be my wrap up for November, and then also my December TBR will be up. Also, don't forget, down in the down bar, I have all my social media stuff, so if you want to follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, or Instagram, I have all those down there. And don't forget to subscribe and also like that video. That would be really helpful to me. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and keep reading, you awesome dragons, you. Bye!